Hey YouTube, welcome to another episode of To The Point. This is a series where I try to explain something in MLB The Show as quick as I can, ideally in 5 minutes or less. And today, I'm going to try to show you the best strategies for drafting a BR team. So you can see my first round picks right here, but I want to explain really quick that in BR, you have 2 diamond rounds, you have 3 gold rounds, 9 silver, 10 bronze, and 2 common. And as we look at the rotation, there are 5 spots. It's a 26-man roster, just like there would be in Diamond Dynasty. But the big change this year is that now there's 8 men in the bullpen. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. But if we're just breaking down the first round and my advice in general, I never go after starters. It's never been a really good thing in BR for about 3 years at least now. The move is definitely just load up your bullpen and throw away. You'll hear the term throwaway. Like commons and bronzes are throwing away for starters. I'll kind of talk about my strategies as we go here. Obviously, right now, round 1, best player in the game right now, 99 overall, switch hitting third baseman, Chipper Jones, position versatility. I'm going to go with Chipper 100%. Although Gossage would be a really good second pick. I would go Chipper, Gossage, Ernie, and then last would be Glavin. So like I just mentioned, normally this would be considered a throwaway round, but because Daniel Vogelbach has very good splits, I'm going to take Vogelbach, and this is my advice to you. Bronze rounds are very, very good bench option rounds for hitting. You ideally want to have 2 decent left-handed bench bats and 2 decent right-handed bench bats. So here is Vogelbach. As of right now, he's my starting first baseman, but I'm envisioning him as my left-handed hitting bench bat. And then I'm going to take Realmuto here. Mo was a very good reliever to take. I'm not saying there's any reason to not take Mo. I will say don't take Fuller, but I think I would rate this round Realmuto, Mo, LeMahieu, because catcher is a very thin position. I love Realmuto's swing. I think it's like butter, and I think a lot of the silver and bronze relievers can get the job done just as well, if not better in some cases, than Mo might in BR. In rank, that's different, but this is on All-Star. So I preferably, how I draft is I lean hitters mainly, and then bullpen's like my secondary mind. So here is that throwaway round, and we're going to take Wainwright as one of our starters here moving forward. Betances has been decent in the past. I would not fault you here if you took Betances, but I'm going to throw away a starter as the menu's being forever to load, especially knuckle curve slider this year. No sinker on Betances. I will throw away a starter on Luke Weaver, and then we will also throw away a starter on Michael Wacha. Now, I just mentioned the idea of throwaway rounds, right? So Danny Duffy could be that throwaway round, but you notice I still have 2 common rounds left. So I want to do my best job to keep those common rounds in my starting rotation so the best players possible are in my actual lineup. So I'm going to take Oscar Mercado to be a bench speed option with that 70 speed. Now, some people like to have one starter that's actually like a decent reliever or a decent starter. I do not personally. I will go with Wendelken here to be my first arm of the bullpen. I also need arms of the bullpen, and shortstop and the outfield, or shortstop and second base, are positions where I could find better bats than Iglesias and Taylor. Taylor's not a bad pick, but this is why I'm staying away from them and going with Wendelken instead. Now, there are 2 different, well, there's actually 3 different ways you can go here. So one, a current BR mission is pursuing Steve Cishek's strikeouts, or I think it's innings pitched. So if you're going that route, I would go with Cishek. If you are purely going, I want to go 12-0, I want to make the best lineup possible, Ozzie Albies a phenomenal pick, but Trey Turner at shortstop, as I pull it up on the screen here, it's taking forever to load. I apologize. Servers are a little bit wonky right now. Plus 13 inside edge, 99 speed at shortstop, a great swing. I think Trey Turner is one of the best cards in the game, even right now. So I would definitely go with Trey Turner here. I can't fault you for Albies, and I obviously can't fault you for Cishek because of his missions, but we're leaving Flaherty alone. So this round is not a very sexy round. Like, you don't really get excited to see Hunter Renfroe, but stats wise, he's a phenomenal card. And this is another thing about BR, power wise, he's a phenomenal card. But this is a thing about BR that you have to understand. You see 38 contact and 55 contact, and you're like, oh my goodness, why would I draft that player? This is on all-star difficulty. So that PCI from my last video showing you how to hit, it's gonna be big. Like when you play online on Hall of Fame difficulty, your PCI is smaller, but on all-star, the reason why BR is so fun is it makes silver and bronze cards usable. So Renfroe will play above those contact ratings, but those power ratings will play huge factor, and that's why we're going Renfroe here. So we've landed upon a gold mine, and with that gold mine, I also want to mention the fact of inside edge, the number on the bottom of the actual like bronze overall. This is daily upgrades to MLB The Show's players based on real life stats. So for example, Justin Upton playing up to a 78 overall today, plus 18 against righties. So you know you're good versus lefties, you can see the arm better, and versus righties you get plus 18 stats. You have to try to go after guys with a good inside edge. It'll make your BR run even better. So although Jed Lowry's playing up today, one of the luxuries of having 8 men in the bullpen is you can kind of throw away or sacrifice one of your bullpen arms. I want to leave second base open for a gold or a silver. There's a lot better options there than Jed Lowry, although he's playing up today. So I'm going to throw away one of my relievers, but I would never recommend throwing away more than one, and that's why we threw him away, chat. Mike Moustakas, in my opinion, the best second baseman you can get in BR. I'm not, like, a lot of people share that opinion, but I love Moustakas. I would definitely draft him whenever you have the opportunity. So although we already drafted our speed guy, Joe Adell is another speed option right here, but I will go with the utility player in Williams Astudillo, otherwise known as La Tortuga. Now, the odds of me playing La Tortuga, incredibly slim, but at the very least, he's got a pretty decent swing. He can play a ton of places, so if I'm making a lot of adjustments in-game, I know at the very least I have a utility man I can plug in, and we're still holding off for a starter, hoping those comments show up. And there they are right there. I thought I couldn't see them for a sec. There's one comment out of the way, and now we're back to the silver rounds here. And personally, looking over your lineup, this is another part of BR. You want to evaluate like how things are looking at the moment. Jay Bruce would be a great left-handed bat to go maybe play at first base instead of Vogelback. I'm looking at Ricky Henderson. I don't love his hitting stats as much, so I will take Jay Bruce to be my replacement for Vogelback. Vogelback now moving to my bench as a left-handed bench bat. So Adam Eaton, again, not another sexy pick, but like the thing about BR that I love more than anything is that these inside edges make players you would not normally draft draftable. I would not normally draft Adam Eaton, but because of what I need in center field and because of what he offers with his inside edge, and the other thing you have to factor in is evening out your right-handed and left-handed bats so that you as the player have opportunities to succeed versus like another hand. You don't want to load up too many righties or too many lefties. So I'm going to go Adam Eaton to replace my center fielder here. And now we landed on a huge right-handed bench bat here in Bobby Dahlbeck. He is going to be our premier right-handed bench bat option unless I find a replacement for Justin Upton. But we got our last common starter out of the way. Now we can really have fun and focus on who we're drafting. I love Jamer Candelario, but I don't have a bullpen yet, so I'm going to go with Diego Castillo, as he's affectionately called. Phenomenal per nines, phenomenal velocity. Got to go with Diego Castillo here. Now you have a couple different routes to go here. I know that we already drafted Adam Eaton to be our center fielder, but you could make a case for drafting Lou Bob. Me being a Twins fan, I'm going to go crazy and draft Nelson Cruz. I'll talk about what I'm going to do with him later because you see the speed is a big concern on Nelson Cruz, but I will take the boomstick here. And now as we move into our bullpen, I don't have any lefties yet, even though Aaron Bummer's playing down. Aaron Bummer is always a must draft. He's one of the few players that if you see him, you got to jump on his card right away. So we're going to take Aaron Bummer here. So when you're deciding bullpen, if you're ever curious who you should go with whoever has the most amount of pitches. And you should also factor in the per nines. Kelvin Herrera, a 5-pitch mix, 99 velo, 93 break, 75 control is a bit concerning, but on BR, I'm not incredibly worried about it. I'm going to take Kelvin Herrera, but we got to start locking down some left-handed relievers here soon. And with that, we get Jake Diekman, another one of those must-draft lefties. Raciel Iglesias is, in my mind, one of the best relievers in BR. I unfortunately need lefties, and since I've been offered one, I am going to take Jake Diekman here, although I would have loved to take take our previous card there. Trevor Rosenthal, a phenomenal righty, so we will have a 5-3 split. I need like a Garrett Crochet in my left-handed round here. Not your guaranteed a left-handed round, but we don't even get a left-handed round. So unfortunately, only 2 lefties in our bullpen. I'm gonna go with Middleton because he should have decent decent inside edge today, and he has a very good fastball as well. I know that from him beating my Minnesota Twins. So now you're looking at our BR draft breakdown here. Let me kind of close up the draft by talking over a couple points on how I'd set the lineup. So talking on bullpen really quick, some of the questions you might have watching are like, hey, why are you not drafting starters? The stamina doesn't really work out very well for starters, and I'd rather go with, and everybody would rather go with bullpen as well. But what you do in BR is you throw an opener. This pitcher does the first 3 outs and only that, and their stamina remains relatively consistent. Even if you get a couple rage quits where this guy can open every single game in your BR run outside of a couple, and then even then you maybe go to another reliever. But talking about my team specifically, I have a minority of lefties. I only have 2, so I'm going to definitely be making Herrera or Rosenthal be my consistent opener. If you have another issue with your team, or you only have 2 lefties, or maybe even 3, you definitely want to go with the majority, because you want to save those arms for big situations later in the game. So then to close, I'm going to talk about how I set my lineup here. I like having speed guys at the top. My 2-hitter, I love to have someone I'm super comfortable with, that being Realmuto. Usually in BR, you want to give your best player the most potential at-bats as possible. Chipper Jones, not typically a leadoff guy. You could bat him in the 2 spot. I personally have him 3. DH is your big cleanup hitter, or your DH. Your 4 hole is your big cleanup hitter. I have Boomstick there. Moose in my 5 hole to pick up the scraps. Upton there as well. Jay Bruce, a very powerful lineup. And when you look at the bench, you have Vogelback as my premier left-handed bat option. You have Dahlbeck and Renfroe here as 2 premier right-handed bat bench options. And Renfroe also plays another role as well, as he could be a defensive adjustment. And Mercado's my speed guy. Astudillo, my utility. There's a lot of different ways to draft your team, but at the bare minimum, you should put your bronzes and your commons in your starter round. You want to have a good amount of silvers and even some golds if you get a good diamond like Chapman, for example. Although silver Chapman is in BR, and he's a very good card to get as well. So you want to kind of keep the bullpen to like silvers, bronzes, and golds, and then your lineup is where you want to spend the meat of your draft picks. This is in BR, like I mentioned, the PCIs are bigger. BR is a heavy favorable mode to batters. You could put up, if you put up normally 3 or 4 runs in ranked, you could put up near 8 or 9 if you're paying attention playing BR. It's a super fun mode to hit home runs, to square the ball up, to have a ton of fun. This is how I would draft my team. Comment below how you would draft yours, and comment below what you would like to see in the next To The Point video. I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you in the next one.